our impact journey is a really interesting one because we started looking at what we were doing as an organisation and what our charitable mission was, and very much in the light of what kind of grants do we want to award, how do we want to work with our community. But in doing that, it became apparent that that two things were obvious. One is that we needed to think about different financial models in terms of the way our grants worked and the kinds of finance we used. But secondly, that actually there was a large amount of activity through our core investment that we were far less clear on the impact it was having and what it was doing and how that correlated to our charitable mission and our social impact principles. So that was the start of our journey. And we started thinking about, well, if you could do something better with that core investment and you didn't have to sacrifice the financial return, why wouldn't you do that? And that was a very, very simple question to ask at the front of this process, but actually something that we hadn't asked, and lots of organisations hadn't asked themselves either. And it seems so simple that I think people forget to ask it, actually. And so we started the whole journey thinking of it as if we could do better with it, then we should. But if it's impossible, then we won't. Or if it causes us any problems as an organisation, then we won't. And we embarked on the journey very much in an open state of mind, and with a trustee board who were very positive about the potential good that we could do, but equally very conscious of their roles as stewards of the investment and their fiduciary duty. Well, I think the biggest challenge for any organisation is ensuring that you've got the hearts and minds of all of the people involved. So that's everybody from the board through the team, and actually that process is something that if you're planning on going down this route, and I hope everyone is, that you need to allow time for, and you need to make sure that everybody is comfortable with the direction of travel, understands where you are trying to get to, and understands the processes that you need to go through to get there. So I think in some ways, the biggest hurdle is that piece of activation energy at the start. Actually, there is some effort required in doing it, but it's really positive effort, and making sure everyone's with you. And then the next thing for us was a very simple, well, actually, what do we mean by positive impact and mission? Engaging with our mission or kind of delivering against our mission. And that we kind of unpicked that through an exercise working with the board, looking at using the SDGs as a way of thinking about which SDGs were closest to our organisational heart, and which ones were obviously very important from an impact perspective, but less close to our core mission. And that was a really interesting exercise in lots of ways. Obviously, the kind of main output is that we've got this hierarchy of SDGs, if you like, a kind of bullseye of where our priorities lay. But also it allowed us as a collective to reflect on what those different areas of social impact meant to us as an organisation, and how closely integrated with us they were, and how much they impacted our ability to fulfil our mission. So it allowed us to surface lots of thoughts about the interrelationship of different social impacts and what that meant to us as an organisation. So it was an important exercise, both for the impact piece of work, but also for us as a whole in our kind of period of self-reflection. So that's a really interesting question, because obviously it hasn't been that long since we transitioned the portfolio, but what we have found is that we have had a very positive relationship with Credit Suisse, and also the opportunity to talk about the social impact of the investments we're making has broadened our horizons in terms of our awareness and understanding of the global marketplace, particularly for adult education, something that we're obviously always been very interested in, but it has given us an additional layer of insight and engagement, which has been really enriching for us. And I think so. That's the initial benefit, is that we have a much deeper relationship with Credit Suisse than we would if we were not doing impact investing, because we have a shared interest in what that what that kind of social good piece is. And it means that not only do we talk about the important aspect of the financial side of things, but we also explore the impact side and the kind of ESG reporting piece, which is not an easy, and it's not an easy field, and it's nice to be able to be talking about that collectively. My advice to other organisations who are thinking about doing this is to really think about why you're doing it and what you're hoping to achieve, and make sure that everybody is agreed that this is the direction you want to go in, because it does require a kind of full board commitment and a full organisation commitment. And I think the other piece of advice I would give is to go at it with an open mind and look at what is the art of the possible. And it's not, we started this process with an intention to take steps on a journey towards our impact goals. And we didn't give ourselves any target by which we should get to 100% for impact. We just knew that we wanted to step on the road that was going to take us there, because it's every step you take is an increase in positive impact, and that can only be a good thing.